This video provides information for centres on how to prepare assessment grades, grade intervals and rank ordering for City and Guilds Technical Qualifications during the COVID-19 pandemic. Before we start, we'd like to remind centres that the approach demonstrated in this video guide is for illustrative purposes only. Centres may adopt different approaches in order to complete the process. For every technical qualification you are delivering, City and Guilds will require you to submit the following information to support the calculation of results for candidates that had planned to take the assessments this summer. Firstly, a centre assessment grade for each assessment component. This can be for candidates who have not previously achieved the assessment and also candidates who intended to retake the assessment to achieve or improve performance. City and Guilds will expect grades to follow a pattern of previous cohorts, either the exam, synoptic assignment, optional and any other mandatory centre assessed components for each candidate. This will be considered estimation of the grade that each candidate would most likely have achieved had they sat their assessment components this year. For exams and synoptic assignments only, candidates must be assigned a grade and placed into a high or highest, medium or low grade interval, with the high or highest being those with the most secure grade. Additionally, candidates must also be placed in rank order within a grade. For example, for all those candidates with a grade of distinction for a particular assessment component, we will require a rank order starting with 1, which is the highest attaining candidate, and so on. There are 6 steps to the submission process. Step 1 is identifying your candidates. You only need to include candidates that are on programme and plan to submit summer assessments. Step 2 is to review the evidence available for each candidate for each assessment component that they have not yet achieved or they wish to improve. Step 3 is to assign a centre assessment grade for each candidate for each assessment component. Step 4 is where you assign grade intervals and rank order candidates within their grades. Step 5 is the internal sign-off process you'll need to complete within your centre. And finally, Step 6 is where you submit the information to City and Guilds in June. Here are the key dates for the submission process and results this year. The process commenced on the 4th of May with guidance provided to centres. The next key date will be in early June, likely to be the 1st of June, when the window opens for submission of centre assessment grades and rank ordering to walled garden. We expect centres to have approximately 3 to 4 weeks to submit grades and other information up until the 26th of June when the window closes. Then, between the 1st of July and the 31st of July, City and Guilds will undertake quality assurance of the assessment grades and rank ordering you have provided. You'll need to make sure that you have staff available to provide evidence upon request. This is similar to previous years where we may request additional evidence from centres for awarding. Results will then be released on walled garden to centres as per the original published dates. Level 3 results are released on Monday the 3rd of August and Level 2 results on Thursday the 20th of August. Step 1. Identify your candidates. The first step is to identify all your candidates that are still on programme and aiming to complete their qualification this year. This includes those completing the first year of a 2-year programme. To help prepare, make sure you have their City and Guilds enrolment number recorded and familiarise yourself with the qualification and assessment numbers, as you'll need these when you input the grades to walled garden. You might also want to think about checking the rules of combination for each qualification and that you've identified all the required assessments. If not, the qualification grade will not be calculated in time for results day. Finally, make sure evidence is stored somewhere accessible, as we may request this as part of our quality assurance process. Step 2. Review the evidence available. You need to review the evidence available for each candidate for each assessment where applicable, including the synoptic assignment, theory exams, optional centre assessed components, and any other mandatory centre assessed components where applicable. Examples of suitable evidence can be found in our guidance document on our website. Remember that you are providing a centre assessment grade based on a holistic professional judgment balancing different sources of trusted evidence. There could be very little evidence and you will need to use your professional judgment or gut instinct. Please note that only the synoptic assignment and theory exam grades need to be placed in grade intervals and rank order. Optional units and other mandatory centre assessed components only need to be assigned a grade. You should also note and remember to check the assessment information and qualification handbooks, as some centre assessed components only have pass or fail grades. Step 3 is assigning assessment grades. Firstly, your cohort of candidates needs to be assigned their centre assessment grade for each assessment. You must do this for all assessment components, including the synoptic assignment, theory exam, and any other centre assessed components. Using the simplified example on screen, we have a cohort of 17 candidates. Let's assume we're looking at their synoptic assignment. Making a holistic professional judgment, we therefore assign each learner a grade. The grade we assign should reflect how they would have performed under ordinary circumstances this year. In the case on screen, we're going to decide to assign 5 candidates a distinction, 4 candidates a merit, 6 candidates a pass, and finally 2 candidates a fail grade. We'll use this in the next slides to demonstrate how to assign grade intervals and rank order. Now we've assigned a grade based on the evidence available to us, we can start to look at individual performance of each candidate within their grade. We need to place candidates into grade intervals to indicate whether they would have likely achieved a high, middle or lower end of the pass or merit grade, or the highest, high, middle or lower end of the distinction grade. So we can see that there are 4 grade intervals for distinction. These are highest, which is D4, high, which is D3, middle, which is D2, and low, which is D1. For pass and merit grades, there are only 3 grade intervals: high, which is either P3 or M3, middle, which is either P2 or M2, and low, which is P1 or M1. There are no grade intervals required for a fail grade, however you will still need to rank order these candidates at the next stage, so please bear this in mind. The graphic shows how we can view this as a sliding scale of performance, with P1 being the lower performance of the pass grade, right through to D4, which is the highest performing distinction grade. Step 4 is assigning grade intervals and rank order. So using the same cohort of 17 candidates where we assign their grades for a synoptic assignment, let's now put in their grade intervals. In our example, we had 5 distinction candidates, 4 merit candidates, 6 pass candidates, and 2 candidates who had failed. We don't have to assign grade intervals for fail grades, so we'll start with the candidates who have achieved a pass. I'm going to suggest that of these 6 candidates, we have 1 lower performing candidate, 3 middle performing candidates, and 2 higher performing candidates within this grade. For the 1 lower performing candidate, I therefore assign the P1 grade interval. For the 3 middle performing candidates, I assign the P2 grade interval. And for the 2 higher performing candidates, I'm going to assign the P3 grade interval. We can then complete the same process for the merit and distinction estimated grades. Remember, however, there are 4 grade intervals for the distinction grade and 3 for merit and pass. Our example shows that grade intervals don't have to be evenly distributed. In this case, for the pass grades, there are 2 high performers indicated by P3 and 3 middle performers indicated by P2. For merit grades, there are 2 lower performers indicated by M1 And finally, for the distinction grades, there are two middle performers indicated by D2. Finally, the candidates need to be ranked from highest to lowest for each grade, including fail. Remember, this is only one example of how to approach this task. Some centres may choose to order candidates first before assigning grades and grade intervals. This is perfectly acceptable as long as the information is provided in the correct format to City and Guilds. Using our example, the centre has 17 candidates and we've already assigned their grade and grade intervals on the previous slides. We now need to rank the candidates within each grade on a sliding scale, 1 being the highest attaining or most secure grade. We do this for each grade, so in this case 1 to 5 for distinction, 1 to 4 for merit, and 1 to 6 for the pass candidates. You can see there on screen as well that we've also rank ordered the fail grades. As it's only 2 candidates, it goes from 1 to 2. All those involved in the delivery, learning and assessment of candidates need to agree a single rank order for each candidate within each grade. You must make sure that no 2 candidates are placed within the same position within each grade. Step 5 is the internal sign-off process. The first step is the department sign-off. Each set of centre assessment grades for each assessment component for each technical qualification must be signed off by at least 2 tutors or staff members, one of whom should be the head of department. Where there is only 1 tutor or only 1 is available, it must be completed by the head of centre. The second stage is the sign-off by the head of centre. The head of centre will be required to confirm that the centre assessment grades, grade intervals and rank order of candidates are a true representation of candidate performance. If the head of centre is unavailable to do this, it may be delegated to a deputy. In reviewing these centre assessment grades, the head of centre should consider how the distribution of centre assessment grades compares with grades achieved by the centre in previous years. The head of centre will be required to submit a declaration confirming this when the centre assessment grades are submitted to us. The declaration should include details of the evidence that was used and a justification if the distribution of grades is significantly different from previous years. We'll provide further details of the declaration form and this process over the course of the next few weeks. The final step, step 6, is submission to City and Guilds. Centre assessment grades will need to be submitted via walled garden from early June. We'll provide further details later this month on how to complete this process, and we'll also confirm the release date, which we hope to be the 1st of June. Grades, grade intervals and the rank order will need to be submitted manually. An example of how this might look on walled garden is presented on screen. You will search for each assessment using the qualification number and then the assessment number. In the example on screen, we've used a Level 3 Animal Management qualification. In this case, the qualification number is 0172-30 and the assessment number is 0172-531, which is the Level 3 Animal Management Theory exam. Registered candidates will display on the screen along with a record of any previous achievement for the assessment. This will always be the highest achieved grade. You'll then need to inform us which candidates you wish to submit grades for. Candidates who you do not intend to submit a grade must be marked as no submission. This may be because they are either no longer on programme, have previously achieved the assessment, or will complete the assessment next year. For all other candidates, you will need to input the grade, grade intervals and rank order, where applicable, from a drop-down menu, as per the previous slides. Once you've completed the process and the process has been signed off by the head of centre, you'll submit the grades to City and Guilds. We hope you found this useful. However, if you do have any questions, you can contact the Technicals Quality team. Our email address is technicals.quality@cityandguilds.com, and we're still available via phone Monday to Friday, 8:30 AM until 12 PM and 1:30 PM until 5 PM. We also have a dedicated page for technical qualifications on our COVID-19 hub on our website. Here you'll find a range of tools and resources to help support you through this process. Just go to cityandguilds.com, hover over the first navigation tab titled COVID-19, which is at the top left of the page, and then choose the option for technical qualifications.